If you owe more than your home is worth, you may already be in a short sale situation and not even realize it yet. And one of the biggest mistakes homeowners make in this position is waiting too long to understand what their options actually are. This is one of those situations where clarity, early on, can make a significant difference. So in this video, I want to walk you through what a short sale really is, how it works, and when it might actually make sense. Not from a technical standpoint, but in a way that's easy to understand and actually useful. Nevada Strategic Property Group is a collaborative team serving Northern Nevada, including Skip Benton, Toni Taylor, and Savannah Lee with Coldwell Banker Select Real Estate, along with Angie Salcido with Premier Credit Solutions. And what we focus on is helping homeowners navigate situations that don't fit the typical just list it and sell it model. So let's start with a very common scenario. You bought your home a few years ago. At the time, everything lined up. The price made sense, the payment worked, the plan felt solid. And then, over time, things changed. Maybe the market shifted, maybe interest rates moved, maybe your personal situation changed, income, expenses, or something unexpected. And now you're looking at your home and asking a very simple question. If I needed to sell this today, would I actually be able to pay off my loan? And for some homeowners, the answer is no. That's what we call being upside down. It means the loan balance is higher than what the home would realistically sell for in today's market. Not what it was worth at its peak, not what you hope it might be worth, but what a buyer would actually pay right now. And when that gap exists, it creates a real problem because in a traditional sale, the proceeds from the sale pay off the loan. But in this situation, they don't. So now you're stuck with a question: what are my options? This is where a short sale comes into the picture. A short sale is when your lender agrees to accept less than the full amount owed on the loan. So the home can be sold. That's it. It's not complicated, but it is often misunderstood. Because many homeowners hear the term short sale and immediately assume something negative. They assume it means failure. They assume it will destroy their credit, or they assume it's something to avoid at all costs. But in reality, a short sale is simply one option, and in certain situations, it can be a very practical and strategic one. Now let's talk about why a lender would even consider this. Because that's usually the next question. Why would a bank agree to take less than what they're owed? The answer is simple: because the alternative is often worse. Foreclosure is expensive for lenders. It takes time. It involves legal costs. There's risk involved with the condition of the property. There's holding costs, maintenance, and uncertainty. And when the lender finally takes the property back and sells it, they often end up with less than they would have received through a short sale. So from their perspective, if there's a legitimate situation and a realistic offer, it can make sense to work with the homeowner. Now let's walk through how this actually works, because this is where a lot of confusion happens. The first step is understanding your position. You look at what you owe on the loan, and you compare that to what the home would realistically sell for in today's market. That gives you a clear picture of whether a short sale is even something to consider. From there, if it makes sense, the property is listed for sale. Just like a traditional listing, it's marketed, it's shown to buyers, and eventually you receive an offer. Now this is where things change. Instead of simply accepting the offer and moving forward, that offer is submitted to the lender for approval, and the lender reviews the entire situation. They look at the offer, they look at the condition of the property, they look at the market, and they evaluate whether accepting that offer makes sense from their perspective. That's an important point. In a short sale, the lender is the one making the final decision. But that doesn't mean you lose control. In fact, it's the opposite. You are choosing to address the situation. You are choosing to move forward, and you are working toward a resolution, instead of waiting for one to be forced on you. That difference matters more than most people realize, because once foreclosure begins, your options start to narrow. Not disappear completely, but narrow. And timing plays a big role in this. The earlier you understand your situation, the more flexibility you have. The longer you wait, the fewer choices remain. Now let's talk about a few common misconceptions. The first one is that a short sale will ruin your financial future. That's not necessarily true. Every situation is different, but in many cases, a short sale is far less damaging than a foreclosure. The second misconception is that you have to be completely out of options before considering a short sale. That's also not true. In fact, the best time to explore your options is before things become urgent. And the third misconception is that lenders won't work with homeowners. In many cases, they will, but they need time, documentation, and a clear situation. That's why waiting too long can make things more difficult. Now, here's something else that often gets overlooked. A short sale is not just about the property, it's also about what happens after. And this is where having the right guidance matters, because the goal isn't just to get through the transaction. The goal is to put yourself in a better position on the other side. That might involve understanding how your credit is impacted. It might involve planning your next move, or it might simply mean having a clear path forward instead of uncertainty. And that's where having a coordinated approach can make a difference. Real estate strategy is one piece of the puzzle. Credit strategy is another. And when those two work together, the outcome is usually better. Now let's bring this back to a simple idea. A short sale is not something you automatically do, and it's not something you automatically avoid. It's something you evaluate. You look at your situation, you understand your options, and then you decide what makes sense. For some homeowners, a short sale is the right path. For others, it's not. But the key is knowing where you stand before you're forced into a decision. You don't need to make a decision today. You don't need to commit to anything, but you do need clarity. If you're not sure where you stand, that's the place to start. You can go to sellsmartnv.com and begin with that first step. Just get the information, because once you have clarity, you can make a decision that actually works for you.